everyone for tuning in to the first ever StreamYard Town Hall. We're so excited to be doing this. This is actually one of the first few times Dan and I have ever gone live publicly. We obviously do lots of test streams in private settings, but we haven't done too many live ones. For those of you that didn't read the original post, we're doing this just so we can get a bit more familiar with live streaming in general, and so we can sort of understand your guys' pain points better and give you guys the best product possible. And I guess I should introduce Dan here, because you guys are used to seeing my ugly mug, but you've seen very little of Dan. So I'll let Dan do a quick introduction of himself here.
Cool, right on, thanks. Hello, everybody. I am the other founder of StreamYard, who is not nearly as public as Gage. My job's primarily building the product, which is why you don't see me that much. But I'm behind a lot of the changes that happen, and Gage and I, we both do a lot of development, but that's my main role in things. So if the product's breaking on you,
it's Dan's fault.
That's my fault.
It's both of our faults. But so first of all, thank you everyone for tuning in, and also thank you for lots of people that are. I should show some of the comments here, I guess. Eddie's here from Florida. Eddie joined our stream with Ross Brand. That was super fun. Thanks for that, Eddie. Hi, Nicole. From Net Friending, and then there's Barb, hey Barb, and of course Beauty Bubble. But yeah, so thank you everyone in the community. I don't know if you guys know this, but we've spent essentially no money on our marketing efforts, but because of the word of mouth growth we've had from you guys, we've experienced a tremendous uptick in the amount of users we've had, and it's actually slowed down some of our feature development because we've been having to scale up. But it's so exciting, and I really cannot tell you guys how much we appreciate it. It's just fantastic. So just to start this out, Dan's going to give you a quick rundown of the change we made this morning, which were some UI updates. And then he's going to also tell you a bit of the reasoning behind why we made those changes.
All right, for sure. So there's kind of three things that we're really focused on at StreamYard. And these three things combined really make StreamYard what it is, and it's kind of why we made it in the first place. So kind of our three pillars, I guess you could call them. So our first one is that we want to make sure when you live stream with StreamYard that it looks really professional, so it looks really good. So that's the first thing. It's got to look really good, because if it looks really good, then you look really good when you're going live. So looks professional is our first pillar. Second one is we're all about ease of use. So there's tons of live streaming products out there, and some have been around for a very long time, but a lot of them are super hard to use. Whereas, like, we want to be the easiest tool to use. So it looks professional, but then it's also super, super easy to use. That's our second one. The third thing that we're focused on is reliability. Now that means when live streaming, it's a lot different than most products. If your Twitter feed's down for 5 minutes, it's not the end of the world. But if you've been planning for a week to go live and your audience is watching you and then something happens, that sucks. So reliability is our third thing. And that means like the product's rock solid, but then if you ever do have issues, we're all over it. So we try to make our customer support as good as possible, and we want to make it better and better as time goes on. Now, some of you guys may have already been playing with the changes, but we made quite a few changes. I think it was this morning we released them. It might have been partly last night, partly this morning.
Yeah, I think it was mostly this morning.
Yeah, so let me just share my screen here.
Oh yeah, and on StreamYard, as I hope most of you know, guests can share their screen, which is a fun feature. Dan's going to find it right now. Hey, so Roy, thanks for joining.
You'll have to bring it on there, Gage.
Oh yeah, here's Dan's screen. So he's going to walk you through our UI changes. I'll remove this overlay so you guys can get a better look at what's going on here.
All right, so I'll try to be brief on this, but I just want to give you guys a sense of why we do certain things. I find if you're using a product and it's always, you're never really sure what they're up to, it's not great. It's nice to actually know, what are these guys spending their time on? What's StreamYard really working on? So this is one of the changes we just released. So here you're seeing me in the studio. Now, many of you guys probably ran into this little alert we have where you want to share your screen. So you go to share something. Well, this is going to be really trippy because I'll be sharing a screen of a screen of a screen. But here we go. You go to share screen. So down at the bottom, you've got yourself and a screen, and then you want to full screen it. So you click to remove yourself, and you get this alert, hey, your audio has been removed. A lot of people ran into that. The solution we used to have was this little crown thing, and it works, but it confused a lot of people. So now we've changed it where if you want to full screen your screen, you just click this big button, which is significantly easier than the crown, which hardly anyone found. So we hope we've made that a lot easier. You can also click it here if you wanted, like you had multiple screens or multiple people you want a full screen. I think it's far more intuitive. I love that change, and I'd love to know what you guys think of it. And then there's two others. I won't even show you them. They're really, really simple. I'll just take my screen off here, Gage.
Yep.
Two other changes that are really, really simple. One is we had a lot of complaints because viewers, when they were on, would see not very much of the video. It was kind of poorly positioned on our part, so we fixed that. And then the other one, I can't even remember. Do you remember what the other one was, Gage?
I think you covered the important ones.
You know what? Let's leave it at that. I don't even remember what the other one was. It obviously wasn't important enough.
I'd have to ask, my mom actually gave me these sweaters for Christmas, so I'll ask her where she got them from, and we'll hopefully we can do a giveaway with some swag. That would be fun. Much easier UX for screen sharing. Thanks. Yeah, that's what we were going for. So I'm actually going to unveil a new feature for you guys that we've had for a bit but haven't released, and it's custom backgrounds. So they work very much like overlays, except they're in the back instead of the front. So let me show you guys one. We've got these nice moving leaves here. They just move very subtly. So the same way with overlays, you can choose to upload a static image or a GIF, and they can also be transparent. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of the feature and of this default background, because it's going to be the background that all users, free or paid, have access to by default. And it's pretty easy for us to change. So if you guys just are like, not about the leaves, we can come up with something else pretty easy. You just got to tell us what you want. But yeah, that's it.
Maybe Gage, just while you're here, maybe just take us both off for a second so they can just
see what it looks like.
See the whole thing, yeah.
Gives them an idea. Let's see what people are saying here.
Nothing too exciting, but hey, Dale.
Hey, Dale, nice to see you here. Dana, nice to see you. So, yeah, backgrounds are here. Let's see. Let's start the Q&A. Do you guys have any questions for us? Anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to see? I'll drop the join link in here or into the chat as well for anyone that would like to join. Actually, Dan, I just realized we're on beta, so people are going to have trouble joining, hey?
No, they should be fine.
They should be? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to join can use that link.
I would probably send the non-beta link, but
oh, my mistake.
It doesn't matter.
Can I delete the comment there?
We'll just be living on the edge.
I'll delete the comment. All right, let's send. I would appreciate it if no one goes to beta. We'll fix that later so that you can't go to beta. But, there's the non-beta link.
At some point, we might release. We have like a separate system for beta testing things, but right now we do all the beta testing. At some point, we might open that up. So if anyone's interested, maybe shoot us a message.
Barb says we need to be able to toggle all lower thirds off and on.
All lower thirds. Would that be names, Barb?
Oh, names is probably what Barb's referring to.
Or like the names here?
Is that what you mean, Barb? Dale asks how mobile's coming along. Mobile's going good. We're working very hard. I can't give you a hard date on it, but it's our #1 priority is to get mobile out. Dana, I know you were wanting to join the stream. Do you want to join us here? Oh, there she is.
Off and on.
Oh, could you mute the YouTube stream, Dana?
Yes,
are you there?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Dana's actually from my hometown of Portland, and we didn't meet each other in high school, but we went to the same high school. And she was one of our earliest StreamYard users. So thanks for joining us, Dana. I think do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I think my only question is what I think Dale just asked in the comments. I just saw him post, but I'm wondering when mobile's going to be ready.
Yeah, we can't give you a hard date, but we're working hard. It'll be out soon. Barb's here as well, so we'll pull Barb in. more people now. Hey,
Howdy.
Barb. Thanks for
Hi.
joining.
Sure. Me
Do you have-
incognito today.
No worries.
But you know what I'm going through, so I'm sitting here in the dark.
Yeah,
But
sorry to
when
hear.
I'm talking about the lower thirds, yes, the names, I found that in using overlays, the overlays that were uploaded through StreamYard, that I could cover the name when I did that because the name is underlying. And so that worked really well. But there are several instances that I came across where it became, geez, we should just be able to click the button and turn that off.
Right.
The names, yeah.
Not just for the host, but the guest as well, because in an instance in my own scenario, it was they were trying to show something and the name was covering it up, and you have to take that break and tell them what to do, etc. And it slows down the whole thread of conversation.
Right, gotcha. So, question for you, Barb. Would it be, like, from your perspective, and anyone in the comments as well, would it be ideal if you could just turn off all the names? So it's just one button, like they're all on, they're all off?
The host should be able to turn them all off and on, but I believe that every individual should be able to control their own if they don't want to have it on, because that's also a right to privacy issue from, you may recognize the name, but they may not want to have it just advertised out there all the time.
Right.
And toggling it off and on leaves it in control either way.
Interesting.
Now, can you make your own? Can't you choose in the first screen what your name is, just in case you want to change it to something different or like anonymous?
You can make the name whatever you want, but I guess you'd still be stuck with a little name tag, even if you didn't want to have one at all. But yeah, you could, if you wanted to, make an alias of some kind.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm using multiple virtual camera systems, and that's what I'm testing with. And this one, to come through this evening, I'm using both Manicam and a Face Rig.
Face Rig. I'll have to check out Face Rig. I've seen quite a few people using it. It looks cool.
So, well, there is I worked on the crowdfunding campaign, and there's various stipulations of use. So it gets into hundreds, if not thousands of dollars if you're doing stuff commercially.
Oh, okay.
So they have one level that's professional, and I use that. And I'm working on another approach with them, especially for senior citizens and people who have other incapacities that in my work that I've come across, because it helps in visual storytelling and not just being their audio. But if I might, I'd like to tell you about some exciting discoveries that I have made in the last 24 hours, and utilizing both of them, because both of these virtual camera applications also enable overlays.
Oh,
so
cool.
if you
So
can
have overlays on
imagine,
overlays.
I have your overlay, and then I have the overlay from Face Rig, and I also have the overlay within Manicam. But Manicam enables me to draw in phone. I have a phone camera. I have a GoPro. I can draw in all these other cameras on the same feed and bring them in under that one ID.
Cool.
So, but the cool thing was that I have a ton of private and unlisted videos on YouTube, because I basically was using it as an archive. And I have IP cameras on my environment, which, as we're friends, you've seen it's pretty cool. That I stream seasonally. So I was wondering, what can I do with them? And when you put that YouTube URL in Manicam and stream that through StreamYard, if you can do it with unlisted and public. Yeah. And you can stream that live, and it's beautiful, and use your overlay. Yeah. Amazing.
I'm just going to pull Eddie in so he doesn't get lonely down there.
I have another question.
I'm good.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Eddie.
Yeah, man, anytime. Dana, Barb, how you doing? Dan, nice to
Hi.
meet you, see you for the first time ever. Hashtag
too.
blame Dan when the platform goes down. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I'm happy that
that's what I'm here for, Eddie.
Somebody has to be the scapegoat, mate.
Exactly.
So,
That's good.
Sorry, we interrupted you, Dana. What were you saying?
I had another question. I've always wanted to, only as a guest, I've wanted to make the screen full screen, but not so much as a host. And I'm wondering if that's on the list of things to do.
The layout, that's one of the layout changes that maybe wasn't mentioned. In the UI changes Dan just made, the screen will be bigger than it was before. We still don't have a full screen button for guests because we're also going to add it so guests can see the comments eventually. So we kind of just want it set in the shape. But what do you think, Dan? Would we ever add a full screen button?
Depends how many people want it. It was definitely a big request. Like it has been a big request. I'm wondering if it'll be as big now just because like we use the space better. Like it was painfully small.
It's a lot bigger now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Well, we're kind of gonna weigh like how much people want it now that it's bigger.
Yeah.
If it's still a big request, then yeah, we'll definitely consider it.
Yeah. I think it's only when you're a guest, because when you're a guest, you don't need to see all the things like the banners and the comments to post things.
See the host clearly, yeah.
Everyone as big as possible.
Yeah.
So now we don't get to see the chat from YouTube within the studio from the back end. That is correct.
That's correct. Yeah, we should add that, and it's come up a lot because it would be nice if you guys could see what was streaming in there.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why Dan and I are doing these streams is so the things that are not painfully obvious to us that are painfully obvious to users become painfully obvious when we're actually streaming. Dale wants to know why can't host mute guest? The host can pull out a guest, but we should probably also have the ability to just toggle the mic. So it's a good point that we should add that.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'd be curious, like, is the use case for that just, their kid in the background is making a bunch of noise and you don't want to take them out, you still want to see them, but mute them just for a second or something? Because I have wondered, like, why not just take them out? I'd be curious to know what you guys think of that.
It's an interesting point with the kids or noisy background, because a lot of people that you may have as a guest on may not be in a controlled environment. They may be in a restaurant, they may be in an airport, they may be in a subway station, whatever, and you just need to mute them until it's an absolute necessity to you to be able to hear them on the stream.
Right. I see. Yeah. So maybe, I could see some use cases for it instead of just pulling them all the way out, because now it's just you sitting there.
Yeah, it's
maybe a bit awkward.
Right. There's actually like I don't know if anybody watches it anymore, but there's a sports show that's called Around the Horn, and they mute the people, but you can still see them up in the screen.
Right.
Around the Horn.
Okay. Let me actually just write that down. Around the Horn.
It's a cool show, actually.
I'm checking it out.
Dana, you're actually going live tomorrow on the StreamYard group, aren't you? Linda Sunshine West is interviewing you?
Yep, she's interviewing me tomorrow. I think it's at 3:30 tomorrow Eastern time.
Cool.
I'm really excited to chat with her.
Now, I just want to, for my own edification, I just have a question to ask. The ability to bring in custom overlays, is there a limit to how many I can bring in? Not that I'm going to bring in like 20 or 30, but typically during a show, I'd like to have at least like 5.
Yeah.
Is there the ability to have at least 5?
There is. We don't have a limit right now. The only limit is the side of your panel now looks ridiculous because you have just infinitely scrolling overlays, but that's fine. You can upload as many as you want. Yeah.
Yep. And then the second part, I think Gage and I were actually talking, well, not actually talking, but socially talking earlier today. And is it the same? I just want to clarify again, if I have like a pre-roll or some pre-recorded video, I can just do a screen share and that's going to roll it through, no problem.
Yeah, there's a few ways to. That's also, it might be better for a different stream that we were going to bring up.
Sorry.
But no. What you said is not. It'll become clear in a second. So yes, you can screen share at any time. So if you wanted to, you could share your screen and put that. I don't have a screen that's good to share, but if you wanted to, before you hit the go live button, you can share your screen and full screen it. And then when you go live, it's going to just be your screen. And when you're ready, you could take down the screen.
Right.
That's always an option.
Okay.
The only downside is that we don't have a super intuitive way of sharing the audio, like your system's audio for that. Like if you wanted to have a music intro, but it is an option if you want to use more complicated tools like Voicemeeter. But eventually, we're going back and forth on Twitter. Eventually, we'd like to make it where you can just upload any sort of media asset you have, like if it's a video or an audio clip, it would just be potentially, we're still discussing how it will actually work. But in that branding tab, you could just click a video and it would just play, or just click an audio asset. You can have like the button or whatever
that would be sweet, honestly, because especially for somebody like me that brings in people that want to roll like a highlight clip of them, or to have a show intro. Because I think in other environments, I'm not going to name names or anything, but I think that's one of the biggest things that's lacking in all of these live stream environments that's outside of OBS or something like that, where you have to, there's like a hierarchy of things that you have to learn. So,
really good to know,
with the user interface being as simple as it is now, it would be cool to have that option being and sticking with that same simplicity for user interface.
Yeah, we definitely agree.
If you could only have just like the YouTube URL that they do on ManyCam, people could upload all of that as unlisted and do it. And that was because that was slick. I hadn't used that in forever. And when I realized that I could use that with your overlays, it made a big difference because that really added the polish to it. Plus, there was advertising opportunities if you wanted to monetize.
Right.
So all of a sudden the light bulb went off and I said, for instruction as well. And so the question I have is, can you deploy multiple overlays within the StreamYard app at one time? Can you only use one, like multiple layers?
That's a good question. So like Dan said, when we're adding features, everything kind of goes through the filter of, does it make the product easier, more professional, and is it doing one of those without sacrificing it? So it's a hard question because yes, there's definitely use cases where it would be nice to add multiple overlays. I think, our current opinion on it is that we'd rather you just design an overlay that has layers yourself and upload that, just because the UI is going to become more complicated if we allow things like add this overlay and this overlay, remove this one. I think that's your thought as well, right, Dan?
Yeah, I guess just to directly answer, yes, we can very easily add that if we decide that that's if that's the thing we want to add. The only reason we haven't is just we thought it would be slightly harder to use for most people. It's like you turn one overlay on and then you go to turn the second one on, and a lot of people are going to want that first one off, but now you have to click both of them.
Yeah, it has to be toggle. It have to be. Yeah. And I am testing another competing product, and we are able to upload video clips for a period. The maximum time, if I'm not mistaken, is for everything to run smoothly is only 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But in knowing and working in developments on that, you have to host that video, and that bogs you down from the developer, the company side. And so that old thing of going back and finding that YouTube URL and leaving it external to bring the video in, and then it doesn't put that on you as the developer and on your product, but also gives the producer a lot more flexibility because in Vimeo, they can go to alternative sources. They have two features in that product. One is direct from YouTube, and whatever they've done in their programming, and you can get that software app, but whatever they've done, they've been able to really smooth that out with YouTube, so you don't really have a lot of blips in it when you're working with it. But the other thing you can do is bring in a URL versus a screen share. I mean, it has screen share capability too, but you can actually bring an URL into a screen. So if you could figure that one out,
those are
that
all
would
very
make
doable.
it easy.
There's a lot of different ways to go about it. One issue with YouTube URLs, it's not particularly difficult to do, but YouTube does have policies about what they want developers to do as far as streaming in YouTube videos. So I'd be curious what they're actually doing for that. I'd be curious if they're respecting the terms of YouTube or not. But
well, that's on the producer, because you have to, if you have copyrighted information, the algorithms are built in. They will stop the video that's from YouTube side, and then you as the producer in your YouTube account will be the one that gets dinged. And so as far as the product developer and that shouldn't be on you. I wouldn't want that liability on you if I were investing in the company. So.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so is there anything else we want to cover? Anyone else have any questions?
No, the custom backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We could just bring in whatever.
Yeah, anything you want, any sort of GIF, you can remove them. So now it's gone.
That's cool. Because that, I mean, even to more so Barb's point, a background could actually help maybe in a layer too. So
yeah, it sort of acts like another layer. It's the
Yeah.
same idea. Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm. But now that works on it as a tile, right?
It doesn't tile in at the bottom.
A
It's on
seamless
the right hand.
tile. The background, I'm saying, because you're saying that you would do a GIF on that, on the background.
What you can.
What
make it a
is the
GIF, yeah.
size? But what is the size of that?
1280 by 720.
So you would make it that big instead of tiling. Okay.
Oh, I see. You mean like make a small one that repeats?
Yeah. Right, because that takes less impact off of a server, and because once it's repeated, it's just that one code. I'm sorry, I shouldn't go to that.
Yes, we could do something like that. Right now it's 1280 by 720, just because not everyone would want a repeating thing.
I think
Totally get that a lot of backgrounds would be.
one of the things that excites me most about what you're up to is that reliability factor and really being focused on that, because that is the biggest turnoff of all, is to be in the middle of a conversation or something and having it go down because there's so much drain on the resources, either locally or through the broadcasting. So that's why I think of things like the tiling, and that is like, what is it going to do? The impact on the server, make it so that there's no blips, or, to reduce the risk there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good idea, Bob.
You haven't lagged this whole time, so that's
impressive. It's been really good, actually, really good.
Well, speaking of that, I'll keep my mouth shut as an old lady, but I'm a gamer, and in the gaming environment, that was the other thing I tested, and because Facebook has gone all in on the gaming side, and the young man and his wife that are running that are friends of mine, and the thing is that it's a resource issue again, and this product is a winner to do that. So that's important. I mean, as long as you do keep it simplified, it's definitely, I wouldn't even worry about Twitch because you're going to have it right there in Facebook.
Right. Hey, just a quick question. When you said the backgrounds, I wouldn't do the background 1920 by 1080.
They're 1280 by 720. Oh yeah,
we'll resize it for you. So if you make it bigger, like we'll make sure it serves.
Right, because when I'm doing my overlays, I do them in high. I do 1920 by 1080, and they seem to work. So
totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, just as long as you get the aspect ratio right, so we don't chop parts you don't want.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Totally fine.
Because when you put that, I was like, whoa, that's not how.
Oh yeah. Mine's been working. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
no, that's totally fine.
All right, I think we've covered most of the questions here. We're going to go live every week from now on. So every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, if you guys want to pop in, ask us questions. Thank you, Eddie and Barb and Dana, for joining us. It's super nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
What kind of stuff do you do, Eddie? Do you produce live streams for people?
I do, yes. A couple of my customers, I own a digital media marketing company. So we do a lot of social media management and video production. So obviously live streaming is a big part of that. So we bill it as a virtual producer. So that's kind of how we do it. So, we have customers like in Texas and North Carolina and Georgia, because I'm down here in Florida. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper for me to be able to do it virtually than fly everywhere. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Are features along that sort of line interesting to you, as far as like the ability to co-host and produce a show? Like, are features that would make that easier to do on StreamYard? Is that appealing to you, or do you have other methods of figuring out how to do that?
Anything that simplifies that process is always a bonus to me. I'm not a genius. So if you can put a button in there that says bring other
make a
graphic
mod
in,
or
I'm good.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
No, I
good
mean,
to
it's
know.
easy to use enough. It's easy enough to use now. So, I mean, I can't see that it getting any more difficult than what it is, which it's not.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thanks again, guys. I'm going to split.
All right. Thanks, Barb.
Bye,
See you
Barb.
All right. I think I'll probably go ahead and end it. Let me just make sure there's no final questions.
See you guys.
Cool.
Thanks, Eddie.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.
See you, Dana.
See ya.
All right, Dan, any closing remarks?
I had a lot of fun. This is cool.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Like Gabe
quick,
said, everyone, this is our first StreamYard live stream, so it's a good experiment for us. If you have any feedback for us, let us know. We're very open to feedback.
I guess one thing to close out with is gaming was mentioned a bit. Just to make it clear, Dan and I are very much focused on Facebook and YouTube live streams, and we're focused on the sort of the podcasting interview aspect. That's the part that's most interesting to us. We don't really have plans on focusing on Twitch or gaming. That sort of seems to be a trend that some of the other competitors are going after, and we're very much interested in Facebook and YouTube. So that's definitely going to get our priority as far as that stuff is concerned. But thank you so much to everyone that tuned in. I had so much fun doing this. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing Dan, and we'll see you next Sunday.